Hello, my name is Finn Hastings and we're joining you live from Broadcast Studio at GBTA VDR Europe Conference 2025 here in Hamburg. I'm delighted to be joined in the studio by Jason Long, who's Senior Vice President at HRS. Thank you for joining us, Jason.
My pleasure, Vincent.
So first question, AI's growing impact on managed travel is clearly on display here in Hamburg. HRS's new AI-infused platform, Copilot, is the focus of your client and prospect engagement at this event. Could you tell us more about HRS's approach to addressing hotel management program challenges with AI and what AI elements the company sees more corporates taking advantage of in 2026?
Sure, delighted to, and a pleasure to be back here at GBTA. So we launched our HRS Copilot earlier this year, and it seems to be the talk of the show, which is great. And it's all about making things simpler and easier for our clients, not only the travel planners, but also the travelers themselves. As anyone will tell you right now here, AI is only as good as the data behind it. And one of the things HRS helps is to collect data from a very fragmented lodging and hospitality marketplace. Data could be the price of a hotel, the price of a meeting. It could be the sustainability data relating to a hotel. It could be the what you've actually consumed within a hotel from an invoice, this level 3 data we call it in the industry. HRS is in a position now where we can aggregate this data together, not just the data from the managed platform itself, but also what has been leaked, what has been spent on credit cards or expense. And we can bring that data together and we use our AI-based agentic data to make recommendations for the planner so they can streamline and optimize their spend.
So HRS is sharing highlights from its second annual State of Sustainability report here at the conference in Hamburg. Your company's Green Stay initiative has blazed a trail, helping both corporates and hotel suppliers leverage automation in their quest to reduce emissions tied to hotel stays. Can you tell us more about the key takeaways from your report, especially new metrics that illustrate how corporates can secure lower hotel rates and reduce emissions?
Sure, Vincent, I'd love to. But just before we even do that, maybe a reminder for the viewers on what our Green Stay initiative is. We're collecting actual property data, up to 80 different metrics that affect the sustainability, or let's say the CO2 emissions from the property. So that could be the energy consumption and the processes behind that within a hotel. It could be the waste management system and processes behind that, and also water usage and consumption as well. They're the real drivers for CO2 emissions. So we're collecting this data, and as a consequence, we can inform our clients on which property is more sustainable than others, and we can nudge them to that in our system. So that's what Green Stay does. In parallel with that, as you correctly said, we've commissioned some research where we're looking at the sustainability outlook. And what we've seen is there's a myth in the industry that if you drive a more sustainable program, it's going to increase your costs. People think sustainability comes with a price. But actually, conversely, what we've seen this year on all the data from all the clients that use our system, we're seeing that their sustainability output, their CO2 impact, is actually reduced 24%, along with a decrease in ADR of 5%. So it's converse to what most people believe, that sustainability comes with the price. But you're right, it's been good to us, it's driving lots of awards. The Green Stay Initiative has won awards not only here in Europe, but also in North America. And it's a great guide for our clients and corporates. And as I said, with the Copilot sitting on top of our platform, that helps our planners to drive a more sustainable program. So they could write into Copilot, how can I reduce my sustainability impact on my managed travel program by 20%, and then the system would make recommendations on which properties to start reserving or having meetings in based on that objective of reducing the CO2 footprint. It's pretty smart.
Thank you. And finally, HRS has long been a proponent of convergence in supplier negotiations, helping clients to maximize their value by leveraging both transient and meeting volumes as they engage with suppliers on RFPs of any size and scope. Do you see continued momentum with this practice as you work with clients on 2026 negotiations? And are there any best practices you can recommend the corporates take?
Yeah, it's quite a loaded question. There's a lot in there, so let me unpack that. First of all, there is a trend for convergence. That means combining your transient spend with meeting spend to increase your negotiation power. But I wouldn't even stop there. I also see project work, long stay, maybe training, as well as a company where they're investing in properties or meetings. And quite often we see an overlap between what we see in transient and meetings. And we see an overlap in the suppliers. So it makes sense to combine this data together to get an increase in negotiation power. What's interesting is a lot of the time our clients they're not looking to increase their negotiation power just to get a better deal. They're looking to trade that negotiation power for a better experience or a better quality stay in a property or a meeting venue. And in terms of best practice, I do see that a lot of organizations are now combining their meetings team along with their transient team on maybe even on the same technology stack, such as with HRS. That's what HRS Connect brings. It's one platform, irrespective of the use case. So if it's a meeting, if it's transient, if it's long stay, it all goes through the same platform. Therefore, we get visibility of that spend. And as I said, we can turn that into negotiation power. It still beggars belief, Fintan, that in this industry today, most corporates have a completely separate team looking at meetings and events, and a completely separate team looking at transient. They're not combining that strength together. And even when they do, they're missing out on what I would call the simple meetings. Most M&E teams of a corporate are looking at the bigger event, a bit like the GBTA event, where there are stands, production, audio visuals, transport to and from the event, attendee management apps. But when you look at the transactional side of meetings, actually the vast majority of meetings is in the simpler meetings. And normally that's done by executive assistants and admin people. And that's completely unmanaged. So one of the missions of HRS is to bring that together onto one platform, which is HRS Connect. As I said, irrespective of transient, meetings, long stay, project work, it all goes through the same platform, which means we get the data, and then the AI co-pilot sitting on top can do the magic and optimize that and make recommendations. That's what HRS is all about.
Jason Long, Senior Vice President at HRS, thank you so much for joining us.
Fintan, always a pleasure. Thank you.
You've been watching Broadcast Studio at GBTA VDR Europe Conference 2025 here in Hamburg. Thank you for joining us.